She's catching up on Ryan Holiday. Yes, the New York Times best-selling author Ryan Holiday. What's her secret to getting from 0 to 180,000 followers on Medium? Anne Bonfert is not a professional writer. She's a travel blogger, a photographer, and get this, a skydiving instructor. As the most followed non-native Medium writer, she's living proof that if you connect with your audience on a real level and right from the heart, the sky is the limit, quite literally in Anne's case. Want to build an engaged audience from the ground up and rocking it on Medium? Let's learn from Anne. I'm a traveler, photographer, writer, teacher, skydiving instructor, adventure enthusiast, nature lover, and fell in love with the African continent. That's what you say about yourself, Anne. Would you like to add something?
I think that sums it pretty much up. I jump out of planes for a living and I travel a lot thanks to my job. Where am I right now? I'm right now in New Zealand. I've been writing on Medium since, I think it was April 2020, COVID times, yeah.
Let's cut to the chase, Anne. You are growing so super fast. 2020 was the year you started writing for real. I'd love to know, what did this mean?
Well, it meant that before that I only wrote on my website. I mostly wrote for friends and family. I wrote blog articles on all my travels. And once I began to write on Medium, was the first time I actually earned something with my writing. This is why I called it, this was the year I began to write for real, plus I began to write consistent.
And with consistency grew your following. So I'd like to talk with you about some funny anecdotes. I still remember the time you couldn't believe you are growing so quickly. In 1 month, you gained 10,000 followers and wish you didn't. I'd like to know why.
I wish I didn't gain so many because it just looks so good and everybody thought I'm doing so well, but it didn't. It didn't give me a single increase in earnings. None of that. I think that month even I wrote less and I even earned less than the month before. So it meant nothing to me. This might sound now arrogant or whatever, but I rather have honest readers than an empty number of followers. It just doesn't help you anywhere. And no, it was definitely not my best month ever. I just made $100 that month.
In addition, you once asked Medium's help center to delete fake followers. What did they say?
Yes, I did that because, what was it, February 2022? I think so. That was when from, I don't know, 50 new followers per month, I went up to 2,000. And that kept on going and adding up from 2,000. Within 3 months, I came to that 10,000 followers a month. And so I was like, that's bullshit. It doesn't do anything. That can't be real. And that was also the time when a lot of big publications lost a lot of followers because they were all fake. And so I thought, easy fix. I'm going to contact Medium. They're going to delete those followers and I can back see what my real follower numbers are. Well, that wasn't the case. They came back to me and saying, no, all your followers are real. Really? I still don't believe it, but yeah, they said all those followers are real. I am on some recommended reading list for a lot of new readers that sign up for Medium, so I pop up on all their pages and a lot of them just click on follow, but then maybe just never come back to Medium or just don't read my stuff because it's not interesting for them. And I have not contacted them since about that again because I got my answer. They said they're not fake followers, so now I'm just following with my follower numbers.
Talking about recommendations, fast forward to today, I see Medium recommending you over and over again. Recently, I even saw you in Medium's newsletter, so in my inbox. I'd like to know how this makes you feel and if you see an impact in the back end, meaning in your stats and in your earnings.
It does obviously make me proud to know that Medium recommends my profile across different channels. I've heard that from different sites that new writers, when they subscribe, my name just pops up, which is, I'm coming back to that one later, but this is how my subscriber numbers just exploded like that. about that one when I was in the newsletter. That was pretty cool. I must admit, I didn't expect that. It was the story Mastering the Art of Rain Photography I made. It was a horrible time actually in Germany because as a skydiving instructor, I only work when I jump, which means my income is weather dependent. And it was a time this summer in July, I think it was, and we were on the ground for 10 days straight. It was just raining, it was overcast, we couldn't work. And after the first few days where I was just sulking inside, and I decided, fuck it, I'm gonna go outside. I took my camera in the rain. On one day I took my camera, it was just drizzling, and I protected it with plastic and whatever. The other day I just took David's iPhone, because that one is waterproof, so I just took pictures with that. And out of this stupid little walk, which I did, I don't know, an hour or so in the rain, I produced that article, and that article came into the newsletter. And for me it was amazing, because for me stories in the newsletter were always just about self-help stuff, inspiration, like life stuff, but never really travel or photography. And this was an article purely photography. It was just writing my feelings on that walk and how I took the pictures in the rain. And yeah, it was published in full frame, and while they do have a booster, I know that a different person boosted it, which made me very happy and thankful. And yeah, it did obviously affect my earnings and stats. It gave me an incredible peak in the stats, but it stayed for a couple of days and then it did sink down. And I still think this is the article for my boosted ones which earned me the most, which makes sense. It was in the newsletter, so a lot of people do get it.
The buzzword on Medium is the boost. People live or die by the boost. In your collection, boost collection on Medium, I saw that you have whopping 15 boosted stories so far. I'd like to know more about those stories.
Before this year, I would say I have tried now and then to write about writing on Medium, because we all know that's what earns you money. The people just clicked on the stories when I wrote about the 10,000 followers a month and fake followers and all those stories about writing. Before this, they did earn me the most, but they were the articles I didn't want to do, because that's not why I'm here. I'm here because I write about travel, I write about photography, I write about my life, but none of this other crap, I call it. Not because it's bad blogging, but because it's just not what I do enjoy. And so to see an article which was purely about photography doing so well, that made me very proud. Probably the one that made me the most proud was one I had sitting in my draft for very long. And if I say sitting in my draft, I had probably just the title in it. Then I wrote the article earlier this year where something happened to me which brought up all those emotions. And then I basically had a finished article, but I didn't dare to publish it until I was like stronger, felt confident about it, decided to go over it. I changed a lot of parts, adjusted, and then hit publish or hit submit to Curious. That publication is one of the big Medium pubs, and I have been a writer for them almost since the beginning. I haven't got many stories published with them, but those I did. They did pretty well, and so was this one. I was told I am not enough because I'm a woman, which relates in first term as me working as a female in the skydiving business, a business which is obviously very male dominated. But I noticed from the feedback I received on this topic that a lot more people could feel for that story, because a lot of minorities felt like this topic is talking to them, even though I was talking purely as my point of view as a skydiving instructor. But yeah, I loved how much feedback I got, and like on almost all of my articles, I didn't get maybe one negative one. And for such a story not going viral, I wouldn't say that any of my stories really went viral, but doing so well, I love it that I get so much positive feedback and none of these hate scamming messages. Yeah.
Let's travel back in time now. In May 2022, you reached 100,000 followers on Medium. 100,000, and now you are at 180,000. Where do you think you will be next year in May?
Honestly, I don't know, maybe 200,000. But like I said, I don't really care about those numbers. Those numbers don't bring me anything. The only thing I ever gained from it was 2 freelancing gigs, which were really nice and I enjoyed. And that's because people saw I have that many followers. And so I got those gigs, but nothing actually Medium related. Well, like I said, this is not my main income source. This is just a side gig of mine. Of course, we all write, whoever is subscribed in the partner program wants to earn something, and it's nice every time you see it's increasing. But for me, those follower numbers honestly mean nothing. It was just so weird how my followers numbers went up that year, and it didn't make sense. It didn't reflect in the reads or views or earnings or nothing. So to me, it was just empty numbers. People kept on coming back to me like, wow, you have so many followers. And I was like, so what? It doesn't bring me anything. So I didn't really freak out about it. Yes, I wrote, I'm not sure. I might have written an article about it because, as I mentioned earlier, those were the articles the previous years that brought me in money. But yeah, that was about it.
Do you still remember when I told you that Sinem Günnel, top writer on Medium, I recently interviewed her together with Julie Rain, and you had the same amount of followers on Medium, and I said, wow, this is so awesome, and you said, I earn pennies compared to Sinem. How much money are you earning right now compared to back then?
I don't know when I last said that, but I am below the $1,000 mark. I am making a couple hundred, and it varies from month to month. It varies on obviously the changes on Medium. There has been phases where they gave out engagement bonuses, which I received, which spiked my incomes. Then they took it again away. Then they changed this and that. So that is also how my earnings fluctuate. Right now they have been pretty good for the last 3 months with the new boosted story system. I'm actually happy about that system they brought in. I know a lot of writers are complaining about it. To me, it brought a decent boost to my earnings.
In my interview with Sinem and Julie, we talked about how powerful big Medium publications can be to be seen on Medium. So I'd like to know, did big publications help you to get seen, and which publications are you publishing with right now? And do you also still self-publish?
Self-publish, rarely ever. I honestly don't. I'm in a lot of publications, but I needed to check on again in which ones I regularly publish. To your question about the big ones, I was in PS I Love You, in Curious, Engage, the Writing Cooperative, and Age of Awareness, which I think is the group of the big ones I'm in. That's what you're asking of all of them. The only one I'm still publishing in is Curious, but once in a blue moon, whenever I don't write travel or photography, then I try to get my story published with them. Travel, I publish in obviously my own publication of Globetrotters, but we have a limit on 2 stories per week per writer, and it doesn't look good if the editor publishes daily, which sometimes I do when I'm traveling, so then I go for the digital global traveler. I also have started now publishing in Simply Wild, which is a new wildlife publication. Wildlife Tracker was my go-to before that for any wildlife stories. So those are the stories I use for travel stories. And then I have Sharing Food, if I write specifically about food. And then I have a couple photography publications. The one is In Living Color. That is a really nice one. Publishes also quite a broad, diverse topic variety. Then Full Frame. That is even more focused on the photography and the quality of the photos. Snapshots used to be before I got into Full Frame. And then still the 6-word photo story, which is just one picture, 6-word photos, 6-word stories, and mostly taking part there in challenges. That's maximum 2-minute stories which go in there. Adrienne got me this year into the Daily Cuppa, and I wanted to refuse, which is the Daily Cuppa, if for those who don't know, it's just stories up to 150 words, so short story publishing. And I said, oh, that's nothing for me, because look at my profile and you'll see that all my stories are 5 minutes and above. But then I decided, why not? Challenges, and so give it a go and see how it goes. And I do like it because it teaches me to write short and sweet, but also sometimes I just don't have a lot to share. It's just in a moment I want to say, now I sit here, I listen to this and that or whatever, and then those 150 words are perfect, even though I still end up on 180 and need to cut it down. And then Weeds and Wildflowers is probably where I publish the most regular, once a week for the last 3 years, which is photo essays and challenges and about birds and all kinds of stuff.
I recently shared a list on my channel about the 60 boost eligible publications. So I bet people watching right now would like to know what kind of stories you are looking for as an editor for a boost eligible publication.
We have a very thorough submission page where you can read everything about how you can become a writer. We have a form you can fill out. We do not respond to all of them. If you want to become a writer, we are always happy for new writers to apply, but we appreciate those who read the guidelines beforehand and share with us authentic travel stories. So yeah, what we're looking for authentic travel stories that show us you've been somewhere, and stories that don't just say, oh, number one, I stepped there, then I went there, then I went there. Tell us a bit more about the background. Just use your own writing and convince us that yours is specific. And we are getting more picky on who we accept, what we publish, and yeah. Will World Travelers blog come back? This is the first blog I've ever been an editor of, and my answer will be at the point right now, no. The team doesn't exist, and I have no intention to doing that, so yeah.
Anne, you are definitely a Medium superstar. What are your tips to grow on Medium in 2023 and beyond?
So what I wrote down is to write authentic. So don't try to copy another writer. Be yourself, write the way you feel, but also include research. Those articles that go well are those where you have a combination of exactly those two. Very personal, authentic writing, but also a little bit of background research. Not putting onto AI writing, but a good research the way we learned it in university. If you cite something, cite it.
Hey, just want to ask you a favor. It helps this channel so much if you choose to subscribe. So if you like the interview you are currently watching, why not hit the subscribe button? Thank you so much.
Then number 2, proofread. The biggest hassle for an editor is dealing with stories that aren't proofread and have a lot of mistakes. And that, I'm not saying that everything I publish is perfect, but I try my best in proofreading every article at least once, if not twice, before I hit publish. Number 3, engage in the community. That is, for me, the biggest part in growing your following is highlight, clap, and comment, and not just say nice story, but comment on certain phrases. I often highlight and respond just to that. And this is how you connect on a different level with those writers. And this is how I build my very close community in Medium, is by constantly reading their work, commenting on it, and they read mine. And that's an exchange in both ways, and that's how you get followers that read your stuff, and not just one story, but all of your stories. Number 4, I wrote down take part in writing and photography challenges. That is where you get a lot of readers you might not think, but those topics, they get shared, and then those people, they read normally all the submissions from that challenge. And then the last one is endurance, constant publishing. I'm not saying you need to publish every day once. I'm not even saying you need to publish every day, once a week. But you need to be constant on this platform. Of course, we all have sometimes we just don't feel like it, and then we don't publish for a week or even for a month. That's fine. But don't expect that if you now publish it and in 3 months again, and then in 2 months again, that there is anything happening from that. You need to have a persistence in what you're doing.
Talking about your tips to grow on Medium, our followers are only rented. The biggest asset we have in our online writing business is our mailing list. So I'd like to know, how do you combine your MailChimp mailing list with your writing on Medium?
This year in May, I had 172,000 followers and 144 email subscribers, which is actually very interesting to follow up on, because I gained about 5,000 this year in May, about 4,000 in June, and then I lost followers in July and August. I had a negative count in followers. I have no fucking clue. I was actually convinced. I was like, yeah, now they finally figure out this is all bots and fake followers and I don't flipping know what, so they deleted. But the numbers then went up again, and in October I was back to 2,000 new followers per month. This month I'm also already above, I don't know, a couple hundred I'm already this month. So in total I have on both of them now about 160, if not a lot. But I'm not doing a lot really in promotion. All I do is that I have at the bottom of each article a couple of links where you can go to my newsletter and the automatic one where you can subscribe to Medium. That's all.
You are not sitting at home writing as I am. You are out there living your adventures and then sharing them in a way that makes your audience feel like they are right there with you. Can you pick us up and tell us how you write, take photos, and share your stories on Medium? And if you are still using your smartphone and or tablet?
It's a good question. I still write on my phone or from the tablet. I put the SD card into my phone, into the tablet with an adapter, and then I copy all the photos over. Usually I don't edit them in Lightroom or anything. I have just a normal program, the gallery from the tablet, where I do maybe some adjustment on if something is over or underexposed, but that's about it. If I'm somewhere traveling or whatever and I just write down the thoughts that come to my mind, I just write everything down in the moment, and then afterwards I would add the photos.
As a travel writer, Anne, what are your biggest struggles?
You are referring there to an article I once wrote, and I checked up on it, and I wrote about the struggles I have specifically or at that time as a travel writer in Africa, which my biggest hurdle was internet connection. Oh my god, I struggled so much uploading photos. I spent hours and hours sitting there just trying to upload one photo. And the one thing is what is a problem for me on Medium is I can't write an article, a draft, inserting photos when I don't have internet connection or not a steady connection. So I always need internet. Sure, I can write Word documents and then copy them over later, which I also do, but to insert the photos, which is a big part of my writing, I always need an internet connection. So I needed a lot of patience and endurance because it just takes so much time. I also learned that some days you just experience so much, you have so much in your mind. As a writer, you have it immediately in your mind and you want to bring it to paper, but you just can't. You're sometimes busy, you're tired, you just want to live in the moment, and so you need to accept that you can't always bring everything onto paper. Sometimes you'll do it later, or some stories just never get told. That's just how it is. Also, struggles as a travel writer on Medium, I noted that you're fighting against the picture-perfect Instagrammers and Insta pictures, because that's what these people, a lot of our readers, they just scroll through, and to capture their attention for, my stories are rather long, often between 5 and 10 minutes, to capture their attention for so long is not that easy. So you always need to be on top of everything with your photos, with your writing. The narrative needs to capture them in and keep them till the end, which is not easy to always do. And of course, now in this age, we're also fighting against the flowery AI stories that are coming up. We do receive them also at Globetrotters, and while I in the beginning struggled, I asked the other girls how they are picking them up, because I just didn't. It's just the flowery writing which comes in there, and there is no I tripped and I fell and I forgot here something or there. So we do know how to pick them up, but this is what we are fighting against as travel writers. That's our competition, is the perfectly written travel articles.
Talking about AI, what do you think about AI written stories, and do you think AI can help travel bloggers succeed?
Definitely not. I don't see AI in that sense in any advantage for us. I think we need to fight hard to stand against all these AI stories that are coming in. I don't say that anything new and development is bad, but in this sense, it doesn't help us. It destroys the authentic travel writing, the kind of writing we love.
Talking about the future, what do you think about the future of travel blogging on Medium?
I think it has a bright future. We need to stick together. It's a smaller community, the travel writing community, but I do think it has a future, and it looks good at the moment. We do get a few more new travel publications as well, which is good. Not seeing that as a bad thing as an editor of one. I think we need diversity, and yeah, that's good.
Before we come to more personal questions, the blue author badge is very important if you want to get boosted on Medium. So nominators are looking for this like verification sign on Medium. You have a book about living in Ghana, but you don't have this badge. I'd like to know why you don't have it.
I did obviously get the information about that badge, and I did start the progress of applying for it. But then I can't remember, there was something that held me off, and then I was like, why should I actually do that? Because I have a book in German. I have probably a 1 or less % readership on Medium about German readers. So if I put it out there that I have a book, I don't think I gain any readers from it. Plus the others then get interested and they want to read my book, and then they realize that it's not available in English, and that is why I decided not to do the book badge, the blue book author badge, how you called it. And plus I'm actually planning, and I'm busy with writing that book in English. So my plan was to get that badge once the English book is out. I was working alright on it this season, but now it has been sitting for a while. So I don't know if I'll just get that badge or do it later.
Let's come to the more personal questions now. You are a non-native. You're from Germany, as I am. What's it like to write in a different language, and do your German friends read your stories?
For me now, not so difficult anymore. The writing right now comes to me easier in English than in German. If I do write something in German, usually my mom complains that it's not very good. But I would say that right now my English writing is better than my German. Do my German friends read my stories? Very few, if any. There is nobody regularly commenting on it. From my German friends, I don't think many read, but my mom is my biggest fan. Kind of impressed how she understands everything, and she now speaks very well.
You recently moved to New Zealand with Ian, your husband. What's it like to travel and live with your husband 24/7?
For me, it's even more, yes. We are 24/7 together, and that can sound very harsh, but we actually do embrace it. Of course we fight. Of course we have disagreements. Of course there's moments we want to be apart from each other, which we can even when we are. You just go into a different room, and if you only live in a trailer, well then I go outside for walks. Very easy as that. But it's very nice to experience all the nice things in life and the travels we do, everything together. We go to a new place, we go into a new work, we fight our way in there together, we help each other. So that's awesome.
I know your favorite dish is the same as mine. What's your favorite dish?
Sushi.
Coffee or tea?
Tea. I have never in my life had a cup of coffee, so definitely a tea drinker.
Favorite language, because you speak so many.
I would have said French, but I haven't used it in so many years and probably can't even speak a lot in it anymore. Italian. Italian is just a beautiful language, but I can't say more than a handful of greetings. I definitely would love to learn Italian. It's just a bummer. You can only use it in Italy, nowhere else in the world. So that's kind of why I didn't put effort. I did once in language course, that was about it.
What are your favorite travel writers you love to read on Medium?
I'm going to start, it sounds weird, but I am going to start with my editor colleagues, because we're not just a strong girls team, but we also display quite a broad variety on writers, with people from almost from a lot of different continents, and we are constantly on the move. And I do start with Joanne. She lives in the Caribbean and has a lot of stories she's bringing out from obviously where she lives right now, but also because she is from the States, so a lot of stories, not just travel stories, also about living in the States, and very thoughtful pieces. I like her writing a lot. Michelle, she blogs mostly about sobriety and becoming sober, and I find it very interesting because I've never gotten really in contact with someone who has done that step, and it's very interesting to see her point of things and how if we, for example, meet someone like that, should react. And yeah, I love her, right? But she doesn't just write about that. She also writes about travel and a lot of other things. Very inspirational stories. Adrienne is the oldest one in our team, but she is the funniest and so entertaining. I just love it how she doesn't care what people think about her, and she's currently traveling Europe. So many interesting experiences she makes by traveling alone in her 70s. It's amazing. Jill is the artist also as a couple, so they're together, but she's the artist traveling around the world, living in a lot of different countries. And the experiences she makes are just amazing, and I love reading her stuff because she's also similar like me, often a lot on the move. She's a bit more on the move than I am, but I can relate to a lot of stuff she writes. I'm getting further down the list with the writers, and I apologize already for every single person I do pronounce wrong, but might still be some German coming through, and I'm not sure how all these people pronounce. I just read them the way I see them. Baron Turlov is one of the latest writers I stumbled upon, and he writes very interesting wildlife stories. He's also traveled quite a bit through southern Africa or Africa in general. I haven't read so much of him yet, but whatever I read was amazing. Simon Whaley, his writing is just outstanding. The stories he publishes with us in Globetrotters are always amazing. His photography is outstanding, and yeah, I love his stories. Janine Lindowski, she is from Poland and she lives in Australia. Her stories are just so inspiring because whatever gets thrown at her, she just makes the best of it. She doesn't complain much. She always sees an opportunity in something. She always sees the positive, and there's so much for your life in general to take from those stories. Erika Burkhalter, I just love her. She travels as well as a lot, but she's an excellent photographer, but obviously a writer for wow. I mean, from her writing, I learned so many new words. I try to bring them into my writing, but it takes some time to take them into your active vocabulary. I just love her writing. It's amazing. Chris Fricke is also a very interesting person. He moves around a lot, actually teaching people how to make honey, mostly in third world countries, but now he has also a very romantic love relationship, which is super interesting to follow because it takes him all across the globe. Amazing. Tim Ward, called also Mature Flaneur, who wrote also a book. He was just now 3 months in New Zealand. You bet I read every single story he wrote about New Zealand. Not just because it's New Zealand, but because his writing is super interesting. He writes authentic, but he also writes super funny, entertaining. Those conversations between him and his wife, they often have me I'm bursting out laughing reading any of his stories. Amazing. Sarah Burdick, very different writer. She used to live for quite a while in Southern America, Colombia it was. She is also a person, doesn't care what the society thinks. She lives her thing, she pushes her life through, and it's very interesting what she writes about life, about her travels, about her lifestyle, her future plans and everything. Honestly, there are so many more I want to mention, but this list is just going to go on forever. If I didn't mention you, then I would apologize now, but anyone, if you're interested in who I would recommend, I have a list on my page with favorite stories, and there I bring out every month a list of my, what did I call it? Stories you shouldn't miss. There's a stories you shouldn't miss series every month, 5 to 10 stories, so it's not that many stories to read through. I've brought out 7, 8 of them now, so 7, 8 months I do it already. And it also receives a lot of positive feedback on it. And this is where I just, whatever story that stands out to me, I'll put it in there.
And what's your favorite thing to do in autumn?
Favorite thing to do in autumn? Grab my camera, go for a walk in the forest. Those European forests in autumn are just amazing.
And the last one, do you celebrate Christmas with your family in Germany?
I used to. Obviously not anymore, because I'm chasing summer around the globe, means in winter I am not in Germany. It doesn't bother me a lot. I'm not a religious person, and I don't like what Germany and the rest of the world did of this holiday. It has nothing to do with religion anyway. It's just consumerism. It's buying gifts and here and stress. Is that what Christmas was supposed to be? No. Christmas was to be time everybody enjoys and is happy. So I don't miss it at all. While my family, of course, is sad, my parents especially, that I'm never there, to me, it doesn't matter. I can do any other day with them, but why on Christmas? And then just this stupid gifting each other things you don't need and you just have standing in a corner. See you!
Bye, Anne. Thank you so much for the interview. Let Anne's story be your motivation. You don't need to be a writing giant to make an impact. You just need to be yourself and share your unique perspective. If you liked this video and learned something, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. It does make a difference. Thank you so much. See you in the next video.